Right, so I've just watched this video from Wonderful, and I feel I need to do a response to it because I think he's missing the point on a few things. I'm going to be clear from the outset. As you can see here, I am subscribed to Wonderful. Click the bell so I get the notifications of when he posts his videos. Got a lot of respect for what he does. I first discovered his channel back in 2022 when I was campaigning myself on Facebook, writing articles about Abu Dhabi 2021. And initially, the YouTuber that I stumbled across that I felt was going to make a difference in exposing the truth was Wolfpack Performance. I loved his passion, loved the fact that he was exposing things about Abu Dhabi and challenging the things about Abu Dhabi in a way that I didn't see other YouTubers doing. That being said, I hadn't discovered all of the YouTubers out there. I then went on to discover Wonderful's channel. What the thing that really struck me was his insight from a really personal and philosophical level about these things, because it was exactly how I was feeling, but I didn't hear anybody else saying it. And I wish I could find the video, because if I could find the video, I would play it you, because what he was saying, from a video that I saw of his back in 2022, his concern was, what message is this sending out to kids? What damage is Abu Dhabi 2021 doing to society and to kids? To the notion of meritocracy, to the notion of training hard, dedicating yourself to achieve something, and then just having it snatched away from you. What kind of message does that send? And there was more to it than that. It's a really, really good video, and unfortunately I've not been able to find it. I have looked several times since I watched it. So I do respect the guy. Many of you, probably most of you that are subscribed to me, are already subscribed to him. If you're not, go and check out his channel. Might not agree with everything. I don't agree with everything. But you know, there's a lot where there's some realness to his I would say opinions. I think that does it down. It's knowledge and perspective, and the way that he is willing to challenge things in a way that others don't. However, with this video, he proposes the notion of closing the pit lane when the safety car is deployed. Now, I need to go through why that's not really the thing to do. I'm going to put a link to his video in the description box of mine, so make sure you click on that so you go and watch this video in full. But this is the bit that I need to challenge, so I'm just going to hit play, and so you can have a listen as to what Wonderful's saying about closing the pit lane.
So now I have a new thing that I want to see. Now the Indy 500 is this weekend. Shout out to IndyCar. We all know what's going to be more entertaining, right? The Monaco Grand Prix or IndyCar. We all know what's going to be more entertaining this weekend, right? So Formula One is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport, right? IndyCar is not. So why in IndyCar, when there's an incident, a collision, an accident, right? Why is the pit lane closed for? Why do they close the pit lane for? And why is the pit lane allowed to be open in Formula One? Answer me that. Now, if you think about it, a safety car only comes out if there's a situation which is dangerous, right? Which affects safety. Think about it. Safety car. Safety of the drivers, the fans, team personnel, wherever it may be. Something has happened on that track which has now become unsafe, right? So we need a safety car to fix it. Okay, cool. So imagine this like someone crashing or something. Why are you allowing drivers to pit there and then? The moment that it's announced that there's a safety car, they can pit, right? If they're right next to the pit lane, they can pit. We don't even know if that driver's okay yet. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 laps, right? Just think about what I just said for a
I value that point, and I value that insight in that, hang on a minute, there's a guy that's a driver that's potentially in peril. That's got to be the first and foremost priority. I'm totally with you on that, but I'm just going to follow this video through.
minute. There's a collision, an accident, right? Not a red flag situation because that is severe, usually, typically. But it's a collision off the circuit, but it still warrants a safety car. We don't know if those drivers are okay yet. Yet people are touching themselves, diving into the pit lane, knowing that there's been a collision or an accident, right? Talking about, oh yeah, this is my opportunity to win the race, you know? Or great, 2 people crash, great. I'm going to capitalize off this. Even though this has nothing to do with my talent, skill, ability. 2 people crashed. I'm going to capitalize off this. That should no longer be allowed. I'm sorry. It's not racing. It doesn't involve talent. It involves luck. And luck, there should only be so much luck in Formula One. You don't need to give people more luck, right? So close the pit lane. Let the cars bunch up. If they still want to pit after that point, let them pit when all the cars are bunched up. That's how they should do it, like IndyCar does. IndyCar is not the pinnacle of motorsport, yet they have more fairer rules than Formula One. Imagine that. Crazy. But as always, let me know what you think. I hope you're all having a great day. Until next time, guys, take care.
Okay, so this is what I think, and these are the reasons why. So, the issue with what you're saying of closing the pit lane is that each team, each driver may be running his own strategy through that race. Okay, so let's say, for example, it's a 70 lap race, and let's say Max Verstappen, for example, starts the race on hard tyres. Lewis Hamilton starts the race on medium tyres, and we know that they've both got to change compound. So basically, Max has got to go from hards to mediums. Lewis will go from mediums to hards. And let's say, because he's on the mediums, Lewis Hamilton has pitted at lap 30, and Max Verstappen was intending pitting at lap 40. But on lap 39, then what happens is the safety car is brought out for an incident, and now the planned pit stop for Max can't happen. So what happens? The field bunches. Max can't pit for his tyres, and they're just all compacting up one behind the other. The moment you then go into the pits, every car that has caught up behind you goes streaming by. And yet Lewis, who was in the lead, he's already pitted. That's not going to happen to him. So a safety incident has completely obliterated somebody's strategy. Now, the reason that I gave those two drivers in that order is to show that actually this can happen to any driver. Had I reversed those drivers and say Max had pitted, but Lewis has now had his strategy obliterated, then the Max trolls would be loving that. They'd be jumping up in the comments section going, yeah, this is fine, this is fine. When I paint the picture to show that, oh, Max could be disadvantaged by this, maybe they'll understand that then. See what I'm doing there? See what I'm doing there? When your favourite is affected like that, maybe you'll start to see some perspective. So this is the issue, in that if you've got this blanket rule of saying, if there's an incident and we deploy the safety car, the pit lane is closed, it can obliterate the strategies of certain drivers. We know that the deployment of the safety car bunches the field up. If you were planning on going into the pits and it was just one lap away from you doing that, you're prevented from doing so. You have to maintain your position in this snake of cars. They've all caught you. You might have actually pulled out a 20-second window where you previously could have gone into the pits and got back out on track and not lost position. But that's now stopped. So that has then skewed your race massively. So this notion that you're proposing is drivers shouldn't gain the benefit, by the same token, they shouldn't be disadvantaged by it either. The solution, because there is no perfect solution. Right, let's be clear about this. The sport of Formula One loves the safety car. And why they love the safety car is because it re-energizes the situation. It adds in that notion of jeopardy again. All right, it can reinvigorate a race where it's looking like a procession, because it becomes this situation whereby certain drivers can gain benefit if it happens at the right time. Now, why is that? And I'll tell you exactly why that is. It's because it's the moment they actually deploy the safety car on track can skew the outcomes for different drivers. That is the reality of the situation. The FIA, race control, are in control of when that safety car meets the track. So from the time that an incident is declared, an incident happens, race control has cameras. There's over 100 cameras used at a Formula One event. So around the track, there are loads of cameras. Every sector, every corner, every straight of the track is covered with multiple cameras. So they can see what is going on. They can see whether cars can go by or not, and so whether it needs to be red flagged, and they can see whether it's this kind of incident that needs to be dealt with a safety car. So they can make that decision. Straight away, what you'll get is yellow flags to slow the drivers down. The drivers will get notified of that. That will come up on their displays. You'll get the marker boards around the circuit displaying the yellow, so everybody's having to slow down. They'll know that they have to slow down to a delta. You can say virtual safety car initially, so you could straight away hit the race with a virtual safety car, so that all of the drivers are slowed down to the same delta, meaning that them gaps in between them are all nullified, and then you can ensure that you deploy that safety car onto the track so that it is scheduled to pick up the leader. So that you know, as that leader is scheduled to come around that final turn of the lap, the safety car is leaving the pits so that the safety car will pick up the lead car. If that leader chooses to pit, that's fine. Okay, any car that's on that, any car behind the leader can then make its choice accordingly. They are all then going to, nobody's going to gain or lose an advantage artificially in that manner. All right, because you've all got the same choices in effect. But essentially, what you see happen is race control don't actually time the release of the safety car in that manner. And that is the thing that introduces the jeopardy and skews the outcomes for different competitors. And that's by design. That's by design. You can easily manage your way around that. You can easily manage your way around that. Okay, but closing the pit lane isn't the right thing to do. And certainly if they reintroduce the notion of in-race refueling, you definitely wouldn't want to do that, because you might fuel your car for a certain number of laps, and just when you need to refuel, if they deploy the safety car and you've now got to do 5 laps behind the safety car with the pit lane closed, you could run out of fuel. Okay, I know that's not an option at the moment, but who knows what this sport is going to introduce or reintroduce to try and add further jeopardy and further entertainment and further chance for, ultimately they're trying to throw in jeopardy, because ultimately it's not that interesting a sport when realistically the fastest cars win unless the driver makes a mistake. That is often the case. It only gets really interesting if you've got relatively evenly matched machinery, and then you can see driver skill. But when a lot of the time we're watching a sport where really it is what is the quickest machine, and as long as the driver's good enough in that machine's going to win. So they have to try and introduce jeopardy into it to make it more entertaining and make people want to watch it. Otherwise, you're just going to see the parade. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are as a driver, as we've seen. If you're in a car that's only going to be able to go so fast, you're not going to catch the guy in front of you. You know, you can't pedal your thing any faster than it is capable of going. We see some drivers extract more out of their cars than others would seem to be able to. But even so, that you still got your limitations. So hopefully that has given you perspective in terms of understanding that dynamic, which is part of the races. Maybe you had thought of that. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, keep doing what you're doing, and I've seen this channel stagnate on 10,500 subscribers. Perhaps it's highly likely due to the fact that he was willing to call out the truth with regards to Abu Dhabi a long time before I took to YouTube on my channel. A long time. It's just what I'm doing is exposing things in much greater detail by breaking things down and showing you the actual evidence of it. Let's face it, we all know it was wrong, but it's now bringing that proof to the fore, breaking it down and showing everybody all of the different elements that combined to contribute to that contrivance. Anyway, thanks for your time. Go and click the link, get yourself over there, watch that video, and support his channel if you don't already. Cheers.